Marvel Snap, a very fast paced card battler, officially launched worldwide on October 18th. The basics of the game is that you start with a deck of 12 cards. I know it seems like a very small deck size, but the games go very, very quickly, and in most games, you won't see your entire deck anyways. The game lasts only 6 turns, unless there are special circumstances that change that. Each player will play their cards based on an increasing mana cost that they accumulate each turn up to that 6. They play their cards at the same time. The cards played then get revealed based on who has initiative, as seen by which person's nameplate is highlighted during that turn. In the center of the game board are 3 locations. These locations are what you are playing to win for, rather than attacking your opponent and trying to lower a health total, like in many other card games. These locations are different, and there are quite a few in the game. I think upon launch, a little bit less than 100, but more than 50 different locations, all with varying effects and abilities. And these locations throughout the game get revealed one at a time. This allows for players to create different scenarios each and every game with the changing of those locations and the players not knowing which location will be showing up. Now, the goal of playing these cards is to win control of locations. And in order to win the game, you need to control 2 of the locations, or more. You can control all 3 by the end, and that is based on the power level of the cards played at that location, or in that lane, as many people are also referring to it as. The power level is tallied up and shown throughout the game, and whoever controls the most locations, or in the case of a tie, whoever has the most power on board at the end of the game will win. One of the biggest differences in this card game is the snap and cube feature and mechanic. Players who feel that they are going to win the game can click on the cube to snap. This lets the other player know that they feel like they have control of the game, and each player may snap once during the game. Both players can snap in the same game. More cubes get added to the pool at the top, up to a maximum of 8. The player that does win at the end of the game earns these cubes basically as a rating. This is how you increase your rank in the game, very much like a rating system or stars in other card games. Retreating is an option and can save you from losing extra cubes if your opponent snaps and you don't feel like you will win the game. The last thing that you can do during your turns before you hit the end turn button is you can click on the mana sphere at the bottom of the screen and undo any actions that you have already set up. Again, as long as you have not hit the end turn button, you can undo actions, rearrange characters that you've played that turn into a different location if you accidentally put something in a spot that you decide you don't want to do. The games end up being very, very quick, as the turns themselves are not terribly long, and the games are only 6 turns long. Games only end up lasting about 3 or 4 minutes, which is definitely a great feature, especially for a mobile game. When you start up the game, you will end up playing a few games that act as a tutorial to teach you how to play. There is no indication of the undo button as far as I could tell, so that one is one that I had to learn from other people who've been playing. And interestingly, the snap mechanic actually comes a bit later. You work through those few games that act as a tutorial, and then you jump into what seems like matches, but once you do hit another certain little threshold after some games, you will then encounter a couple of scripted games that honestly feel like they should have been, in my opinion, added in to the rest of the tutorial games. Those couple of scripted games teach you about snapping and those cube mechanics and the retreat. I have heard the argument that they want you to learn the game before introducing that snap and cube mechanic. But in my experience, without knowing ahead of time that the game I was starting was a scripted event that forces you to lose and concede the game, felt very jarring as an experience for me as a player. I felt like I had already done the tutorial and that I was in the game, and it really kind of felt like it took me out of the flow of the quickness and fast-paced games that I had already been doing. I definitely was not a fan of that mechanic in itself, but overall, I still found the game very, very enjoyable, easy to play. Now, a couple of mechanics for the game overall. Let's talk about collection and leveling. This game is a bit different than other TCGs or CCGs that you might have played, and that is with the fact that there's not really packs and things to buy to open and get cards. The way you build up your collection is through a collection level. The collection level is based on upgrading your cards. Now, upgrading your cards does not change their abilities, their strength, or how they play in the game at all, but merely is upgrading their cosmetic level. Upgrading those cards is required to increase your collection level, and the higher your collection level, the more cards and other upgrade mechanics you will earn. The collection level does, at least at this time, go up endlessly. So I have heard of players being at level 3,000 or above for their collection level. The levels do seem to go fairly quickly. I was able to pass mid-70s in collection level after my first full day of playing, around 8 hours. The further you go, the less likely you actually are to get guaranteed cards. The cards you do pick up are random, but when you are actually getting into a game and being paired against a player, you are paired based on your collection level because everyone is working towards those same pools of cards. Pairing against other people that have similar cards to you is a pretty big benefit. I feel like when you are in that matchmaking in a game. But the game is also very good at showing you very large when you haven't encountered a card yet so that you can see what the effect is when it is being played. And the last thing I want to cover is talking about the seasons and the kind of reward track that goes along with those. Each season will last for 1 month, and you'll be working towards hitting level 50 on that seasonal reward track to work towards the main card shown on the season page. Now, at level 50, you earn yourself that card, and for every level beyond level 50 that you hit during that season, you will get an additional season cash with some additional rewards. There are varied rewards throughout the track going up to level 50. Now, for players who don't buy the seasonal pass, there are still free rewards along the way. If you don't buy the seasonal pass, but you still want that card, it has been revealed that those cards, for example, this first one, Miles Morales, upon launch, will be available in the card pools for players to earn after 2 months. Overall, I had a ton of fun with the game, and I have kind of looked at it on mobile, on the kind of BlueStacks PC emulator for mobile, and the Steam client. On Steam, it is written that it is in early access, but on mobile it is fully launched. The game is made and designed to be played on mobile, and they're working on transferring that to a more efficient Steam platform, but it is available if you do want to play on PC. Good luck! Thank you so much for checking this video out, and if you enjoy these types of videos and want to see my thoughts on some other newly released games, you can check out this video here.